plan is, and as you mentioned in your documents, and it's very clear what's happening, that, you know, as the killing commences, because of course there's going to be a second wave, they're going to cause it with vaccine. And once the second wave commences, that gives them an excuse to declare martial law and do all kinds of other things under the guise of, you know, national defense, not only in the States, but I'm sure this is being planned in other countries as well. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. The same setup here in Europe. Austria is going to move into the control of WHO and the EU. America is going to be handed over to WHO and the UN. Austria, in the event of a pandemic, is going to be taken over by WHO and the EU. So, I mean, and France, Germany, the whole of Europe is going to be basically have the same fate as America. This is what's clear from the pandemic plan of the government, which creates, just in parallel with the USA, this untransparent bureaucratic structure in the event of a pandemic, which answers to WHO and the EU. So they have emergency powers to take control of Austria, and they will be forcing people, or trying to force people, to take this vaccine. Their aim is to get as many people here vaccinated as possible. They are not going to make it compulsory, but they're going to put every form of pressure on people to make it take the vaccine. In France, it could be compulsory. In Germany, it could be compulsory, and in Spain as well, and Norway. So we're talking about a terribly premeditated and well thought through plan. And I just, because this is a military show, I want to say, you know, how important the role of the military is in this. I do what I do because I had an Irish grandfather who was in the army, and he was an army officer, and he was a man of complete high sense of responsibility towards his soldiers, his community. And he instilled that in my mother, and my mother instilled that in me. And I know what the army is capable of. I know that there are many people in the military who understand the importance of these values and fighting for these values, even if it is against the so-called superiors. And I think it's time for the military people to recall their oath to the Constitution, to the American people.
Jane, I just got a message. We're going to a break. We'll pick this up on the other side. I totally agree, and I want you to repeat that.
Unfortunately, I have to go.
The break's only 30 seconds.
Okay.
The break's only 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, please stand for a little while.
Those of you who heard around the world, this is Wind Talkers Radio Network. This is a special show. We have a caller from Austria, and we're only going to break for their time. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Those callers, welcome. This is Wind Talkers Radio Network, heard around the world on Wind Talkers Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Dr. Rebecca Carley and her guest from Austria, and we're having a great show today to give you information. And to those Marines out there that are IMing me, asking me who is, that's WHO is the World Health Organization. Now, welcome back, you guys. Ladies, y'all have the show. The mics are open.
Okay, Jane, please continue with what you're saying, because that is the message that Drew and I are trying to get out to the military as well. They took an oath to protect and defend their respective countries from terrorists from within and without, and now we know where the terrorists are. They are within the health organizations, and that is what they have to realize, especially because they're being used as experimental guinea pigs to test these vaccines and see what the kill rate is.
Absolutely, and frankly, that is an appalling misuse of soldiers' lives. They have committed themselves to service for their country. They have to make a lot of sacrifices, and to misuse that commitment to infect them with this flu is a crime. And no general, no officer can justify this, I believe, before the military code of honor or the law of the country. So what is going on here? It's just a criminal activity, a misuse of the army, a misuse of soldiers who are there to protect their people, to protect the Constitution, and who also have to operate within the laws of the country and the military code. And this kind of flagrant abuse, I believe, has to be resisted, also within the ranks of the military, who I fear are being, as I say, misused by this international crime syndicate.
I totally concur.
Can I ring in here for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say hi to Jane because we had emailed back and forth, and I've never spoken to you before. Hi, Jane.
Hi, and can I just ask who you are?
Oh, this is Pat Jordan.
Oh, yes. Oh,
and,
Pat, right, yes.
And I just wanted to let the Marines know that this is what a patriot is, folks. Dr. Carley and Jane, these are patriots. These are citizens that just rose up and did the right thing at the right moment. And take it away, Jane.
Jane, I've got 5 questions here real fast from Marines. One from Butler Base rhymes in. He chimed in first, so we'll bring that to you. Jane, why haven't more people talked about the Nuremberg trials and the laws of the Nuremberg trials that prevent vaccinations on civilians as well as military without full consent?
Well, I have to tell you the shocking truth. I'm here in Austria, in Germany, and I fear what's going on in America is that America, or the top echelon, is turning it into the equivalent of Nazi Germany. Yes. And they don't want people to recognize the parallels, so they're not putting into public awareness the Nuremberg trials, because if people knew the Nuremberg trials, they'd see that this is Nazis have taken over America, frankly. These are not Americans. They don't adhere to American values of the Constitution. I have researched the Nuremberg trials. I have a degree from Edinburgh University, but I also know a lot of history. And I can tell you the parallels are horrendous. Americans' rights are being eroded in the way Germans' rights were eroded under Nazi Germany. And they're keeping the Nuremberg trials very quiet so that Americans don't realize the situation they're in. They're in Nazi sort of, America now, legally. It's incredible as it sounds. The legal foundations are the same of America right now. The FEMA camps are the same. It's a horrendous situation which is disguised from the American people by the media. The media just doesn't give the right information to the public and conceals from them the extent to which Americans have lost their rights.
Exactly. You're totally correct. I totally concur. And
I have another question from a Marine in South America. He says, Jane, with what the gunny is talking about from Butler Base, it rhymes true. Even in South America, people here know the difference of what happened in Germany in the 1940s and the specific trials of the Nuremberg trial. Why aren't they talking about it in Europe? Obviously, the controlled media in the United States is so controlled that they're not telling the American people about it. But in Europe, I see more news articles. It seems like the press in Europe is more free. So why aren't the press in Europe talking about the Nuremberg trials?
Well, the press here is exactly the same as in the USA and owned by the same people. And one of the points of evidence that I will be bringing to this police of terrorism by anti-terrorism unit is how the press have lied. I can show concretely how so-called independent magazines here are lying about Baxter. As a journalist, of course, I know the whole media is corrupted. It's in the hands of very few people who are using it as an instrument to further their business and political interests. And they are concealing from the people of Austria and Germany and Spain, Norway, France, the UK, the extent of the danger they are in, just as is happening in the USA.
All right, I've got another question here from a Master Gunnery Sergeant, and I'm not going to tell you where he's at because there's so few Master Gunnery Sergeants in the United States Marine Corps. He comes forth and he asks the simple question, is that with all the media being orchestratedly owned by the same people, the evidence that you have going forth to Austrian government officials, is there any hope that you can get people to open their eyes in the Austrian government and the Austrian legal system to do something?
Yes, the police are acting, the anti-terrorism unit is acting, and now people are finding out what's going on here in Austria. It's taken me months to get people to begin to write about it. That's how controlled the media is, and it's just starting now.